I said going live.
All right, guys, we're going to start the Friday edition of the show. Good to be back in the saddle after 3 days of hiatus. Serious bout of food poisoning. Worst I've ever had. 3 days of being on my tail. No positives come from something like that. Maybe the loss of some weight, although I didn't have much weight to lose to begin with. But it's good to be back. It was good to do Real Talk this morning. It's good to connect with you guys on the I Love CVille show today. I have a lot of information for you today. Scott Aaronworth, I see you're watching in Virginia Beach. I got a new restaurant news for you. This will be first reported here on the I Love CVille show. I think you'll be excited for that. We'll talk about that today on the program. A lot to cover on the show on the Friday edition of one of my favorite things that I do for you on the program. Give me about 10 seconds, Judah, and we'll get rocking and rolling. All right, J-Dubs, we're good.
Quiet on the set.
Good Friday afternoon, guys. I'm Jerry Miller, and welcome to the I Love CVille show. Thank you kindly for joining us. It's good to be with you after a aggressive, short, painful hiatus that involved worst case of food poisoning ever for yours truly. But that's in the past, and the future is bright. And we have a lot to cover on the Friday edition of this program. When you take 3 days away from doing the show, the items that you want to relay to you, the viewer and listener, start to stockpile. And then you start to get antsy. Because one of the things you enjoy doing, and I'm talking about myself here, is connecting with you, the viewer and listener, by relaying news to you that matters. And there's a lot of it that matters. I'm going to start with a taste of the Board of Visitors at the University of Virginia here in a matter of moments. We'll talk, one strategist and one economist thinks that millennials are causing inflation. I will highlight a listing that Bill McKenzie sent over to us that has a price tag of $535,000. Scott Aaronworth, you're watching in Virginia Beach, will highlight a Peruvian restaurant that is about to open in Southside Charlottesville. First, I want to thank Skooma Boutique Dispensary for being a part of the show. The best dispensary in Charlottesville, Skooma Boutique Dispensary, with locations on Elliowood Avenue and on the downtown mall. Skooma Boutique Dispensary is locally owned and operated. Remember the name, Skooma Boutique Dispensary. Little tidbit from the UVA Board of Visitors. Glenn Youngkin, the governor of Virginia, announced 4 new appointees to the Board of Visitors. Dr. Stephen Long, Amanda Pillion, Doug Wetmore, and Bert Ellis Jr. 4 new appointees. Here's the interesting take. One of the 4 new appointees, Bert Ellis Jr., he was the guy who over 2 years ago confronted a lawn resident, a female, in front of her room about a sign that she put on the door. The sign that she put on her door on the lawn, while I personally find it despicable, the sign read this, that was on her door. And I'm going to use an abbreviation for the cuss word. She actually had the cuss word on the sign on her door. And it said, quote, F-UVA. F was spelled out. It didn't say F-UVA, it was spelled out, the 4 letters. F-UVA. UVA operating costs. KKK cops, genocide, slavery, disability, black and brown life. So she's using her door to her suite on the lawn. The Lawn is the most prestigious place to live at the University of Virginia. And she's using her door, the front door to the suite, her room on the Lawn, to offer political commentary. And the political commentary she offered was very slanderous, very negative to UVA's reputation. I'll read it again. The sign said, F UVA, period. UVA operating costs, KKK cops, genocide, slavery, disability, black and brown life, end quote. So it's a political statement. Over 2 years ago, Burt Ellis Jr. drove from his house to the Lawn to confront this student. Not only did he confront the student, but he confronted the student with a box cutter. And the box cutter was used to cut down the sign. Cut down the side off the door. A razor blade to cut the sign off the door. UVA ambassadors, they're not the police at the UVA, they're the folks wearing the yellow shirts, the ambassadors, told Ellis, don't use your razor blade to cut down a political sign off the front door of a fourth-year student at the University of Virginia. Here's the interesting aspect of this story. The man who over 2 years ago drove from his house hours away to the Lawn with a razor blade to cut a political statement, a protest sign off the front door of the Lawn, a room on the Lawn. This man is now on the Board of Visitors. He was named last month by Governor Glenn Youngkin as one of 4 new appointees. So Youngkin, whose campaign was to eradicate wokeism, whose campaign was to return empowerment to parents when it comes to public educations in the Commonwealth. And I would say, let's welcome Judah Wickower on a two-shot here. He's our director. Let's make sure the two-shot's set up correctly. I mean, his campaign was predominantly done on public schools, elementary, middle, and high school. But I think we could characterize the university as a public school as well, here in the Commonwealth. So he names 4 Board of Visitors. One of the Board of Visitors, Glenn Youngkin names, is a dude who literally 2 years ago drove hours from his house to UVA with a razor blade to cut off a sign off someone's front door. And while Jim Ryan, Judah, the president of the school, while he also found the sign gross, he said it's protected under free speech.
Yeah.
Which it is.
Yeah.
It's protected under free speech. And if there's a place for free speech to shine, I've got to say it's at the university level as men and women are maturing into adults.
I would definitely agree, but I would also I would be curious if the person that put that sign up on their door was as accommodating to other people about their
I don't follow what that means. What does that mean?
That means
you found it, the F word that was in the sign distasteful?
I mean, I find the whole thing, I find his actions distasteful. I find the students' actions distasteful. I read something about the story, and the person.
You read about it?
Yeah, a little bit. And I remember the person basically saying, well, it got your attention, didn't it?
Yeah.
I mean, seriously.
The student said that.
Yes.
The female student.
Yeah.
The 4th year.
Right.
And that was her goal.
Yeah, that was her goal. But seriously, if honest public discourse is being ground down to just like who can swear the loudest to get the most attention, I think that's just as distasteful. And what I was saying at the beginning is, would the woman that placed that on her door be as accommodating of other people's right to free speech? We find a lot of times that when the other side is saying what they want to say, I mean, you
Is
get
the bigger
shouted
story?
down, you get Go ahead.
And I apologize for interrupting. I apologize. Is the bigger story, what is the story? Is the story that a fourth-year student, while living on the lawn, can utilize UVA property, the lawn and the front door, to put a sign on a door that is vulgar, has curse words, and attacks UVA? Is that the story? Is the story this?
About the guy.
A man drives hours away with a razor blade and feels he has the right to razor blade a sign off a private residence?
Yeah.
Or is the story that Glenn Youngkin named the man who drove hours away with the razor blade to the Board of Visitors, one of the most important positions at the university, a group of people, the Board of Visitors, that determine the future of where the university is going to go? Because I think that is the greater story, that a man who drove hours away in a vehicle with a razor blade to razor blade a sign off a lawn suite room is now going to be entrusted with leading the direction of the university.
Yeah.
That seems to be the story.
I think they're all good stories, and I think that probably is the most important. But I think, I constantly talk about both sides working on the same rules, and one of those is, like I was just saying, would she be as accommodating of someone else's free speech? In this case, it's like when people are ripping Trump signs out of, off of people's front lawns. Like, would this guy be as, would he be fine with someone tearing a political sign off of his front yard? I don't think so. I think he would probably be pretty angry.
Oh, he would be pissed.
Yeah.
If this guy drives hours to tear off a sign off someone else's door, he would be super pissed if a sign was taken out of his yard.
Yeah, and that's what I can't stand, is the hypocrisy of, in this situation, this guy thinking that he has the right to rip down her sign.
Well said, Judah. Is this Youngkin making... I'm surprised this isn't a bigger deal. I'm surprised this hasn't gotten Richmond Times-Dispatch, Washington Post type headlines. Is this Youngkin making a statement that it's, look, dude, I told you I was going to run with this anti-woke approach. And can you think of a guy that he can... obviously there are other more radical or extreme appointees he could have named. Okay.
Yeah.
There's extremely more.
There's always
more. There's always more. But Youngkin's no dummy. His campaign's no dummy. The team that manages Youngkin in office is no dummy. They knew they named a guy to the Board of Visitors that was very much in the news for trying to razor blade someone's woke sign off the lawn.
Was this that much in the news before?
Oh, it was in the news. It was very much in the news 2 years ago. The appointment is not being in the news.
Right.
This should be in the news.
Yeah.
A man who tried to razor blade a protest sign off the lawn is now on the Board of Visitors.
Yeah.
Is that an indication that Youngkin is incredibly committed to this empowering parents, returning the autonomy to parents with public schools, and eradicating wokeism and everything that comes with it from curriculums and education systems?
It could be. I'm no fan of wokeism, but yeah, I've had some serious questions about Youngkin since he came to office.
You have, and he started rubbing you the wrong way when right out of the gates he started.
He started mandating.
And
again,
out of the gates.
My big problem, I think often bigger than a lot of the problems that other people see, is the hypocrisy. Like, it's fine for our side to do something, but not fine for the other side. That's always going to rub me the wrong way.
So, well said.
Kindly.
So there's a conversation for your cocktail party before we go to the next topic. On the Board of Visitors, the gentleman's name is Burt Ellis Jr. He's the CEO of Ellis Capital, namesake company. The dude drove a couple of years ago hours to confront a UVA Lawn resident, a female, because of a protest sign on her front door. The protest sign on the front door compared UVA to the KKK, genocide, slavery, and had a message about UVA's mistreatment of black and brown students. And it also had the phrase SUVA, FUVA on the sign. The man drives hours from his house with a razor blade to razor blade the sign off the door. UVA ambassadors, the people in the yellow shirts, they're a step below cops. They're the people that will call cops if the problem is not stopped, told this dude not to do it. Now this dude, Bert Ellis Jr., is literally on the Board of Visitors appointed by Glenn Youngkin. If that is not a conversation for your cocktail party or your next family get-together or your next dinner with your family, I don't know what is, because there's a lot of freaking layers to the onion. And speaking a lot of layers to the onion, Judah Wickhauer is going to set the stage on this topic. A strategist, an economist, is saying millennials, people 40 and under. I mean, what's the millennial range? I'll look up the millennial range as you set the stage for the story. But this economist is saying, the strategist is saying, that millennials are absolutely to blame for the obscene sky-high inflation we're experiencing right now. Give us a nutshell, Judah, of this story.
Well, basically, they're alleging that that millennials have held off for years on, buying their first home, making big car purchases, and they're saying that all of a sudden they're all in the market at the same time buying cars and houses, which doesn't seem like an accurate depiction of how things are going. Saying there are an estimated 92 million millennials, primarily in the 27 to 42 year age bracket, and he's just.
I will say this. I'm a millennial. The millennial is famous, infamous, known for, notorious for, paintbrushed as someone who prioritizes experiences over tangible assets. The millennial has a reputation for vacations, personal memories, travel.
And there's a good reason for that.
Delaying housing.
Yeah, because I think because those in the younger generations, millennials and younger, and probably even my generation as well to some extent, are seeing how much inflation is affecting everything that we buy. And so, of course, as we've often talked about here, experiential shopping is becoming more popular because you can't afford all the things that you want. And if you just try to save up and buy things, what do you end up with? You end up with crap. But if you spend your money on experiences, on enjoying your life, then you've got something that, it's never going to be tarnished in your memory.
Well said. Bill Smead is the Chief Investment Officer at Smead Capital Management. He told Squawk Box Europe on CNBC the following. He explained that in the United States, there are an estimated 92 million millennials, primarily, as Judah said, in the 27 to 42-year-old age bracket. He said the last time we saw this kind of effect, Wolverine inflation, which is inflation that is hard for policymakers to stop, was when 75 million baby boomers had replaced the 44 million silent generation people in the 70s.
Yeah, and then he goes on and says he talks about the ages. We have all these people who postponed home buying, car buying for about 7 years later than most generations. But in the past 2 years, they've all entered the party together. And this is just the beginning of a 10 to 12 year time. How does it, it's not like there's a cutoff. It's not like these are waves and like one of them has just been out. It's not like these people have not been buying houses. Maybe not in the numbers that he expects, but it's not like someone buys a house and then just sits in it it's not like everybody buys a house and then just sits in it for 10 or 15 years.
Well, the millennial has had and maybe this is a sob story. Viewers and listeners, maybe you disagree. Is the millennial the group of people, the generation of people that is going to have the most difficult time of accumulating or building wealth? Is it the generation right after the millennial? Because the millennial is the one that's undoubtedly saddled with this student loan debt that's now becoming like such a crisis that it's being woven into presidential campaigns.
Yeah, well, I think
Biden ran in part on a campaign associated with student loan debt.
Yeah,
Now, I'm not sure he's done anything he said he would do in his campaign.
I'm not sure there's anything that can be done. I mean, as much as I would love to say, yeah, let's just eliminate student loan debt because colleges are insane. You can't. We see right now what you get when you just freely print money.
Well, and on top of that, my buddy made this comment. He goes, "How is this fair to me?"
Yeah.
This is what
Somebody
my buddy
that's already
said.
paid off their loans.
Well, not even that. My buddy said, my buddy's a tradesman. He's making a good living now. He's essentially, call him a contractor. And he didn't go to college. He got into the trades. And one of the things he had to do to get into the trades was buy a truck. And for him, his college education when he was 18 or 19 was the cost of this truck to do his business, to run his business.
And probably some expensive tools as well.
An incredibly expensive set of tools. He added that as well. So he said in his particular circumstance, his college education, the cost of his education was in part the tools and the truck, the barrier of entry to get into this profession he's in now. And he said to me at a party, he said, if they eradicate or they pay back student loan debt, are they going to do the same for my Chevy Silverado and the tools I had to buy when I was 18 to get into this profession?
Yeah.
Because in his eyes, the truck and the tools into the profession are synonymous with the college degree.
Yeah.
And he said, no one's going to come in here and say, here's $60,000, $70,000 for the truck, and here's another $15K for all these tools you had to buy.
Yeah. those are definitely some very good
comparables, points.
Yeah, but I think the bigger problem is that as always, the government never does anything intelligently. Give them money and they'll waste it. And in this instance, they're putting a Band-Aid on the problem rather than focusing on the actual, underlying issue, which is colleges costing outrageous amounts of money. At the same time that inflation is running rampant, and they never seem to do anything about the underlying. They're always just, trying to patch up the symptoms.
There's no doubt that the millennial generation is one of the fastest growing debt burden generations out there. A lot of that debt undoubtedly associated with student loans.
And inflation.
And inflation.
And the problem with giving people, anybody who wants a student loan, and colleges just raise their prices because it's easy money. Colleges know that they can do it.
Well, and not only that, they're easy targets. The students are easy targets. It's a rite of passage. They're being told for 18 years of their life that they should go there, that this is the rite of passage. This is the next step. This is what you do. This is how you become a man or a woman.
Yeah, but
this is how you get a job.
But kids going to college is not the cause of colleges raising their prices far, far beyond any other metric.
No, but kids going to college is a reason why the millennial generation has been saddled with hundreds of thousands of dollars of debt and why they are delaying home buying.
Yeah,
which is the point he's making. And here's the terrifying aspect of the point he's making. Okay? There's 92 million millennials, an estimated 92 million millennials that are looking to get into the housing purchasing game. And according to Bill Smead, the chief investment officer of Smead Capital Management, of that 92 million, 50% are still trying to buy a house. 50%. So you're looking at what? 46 million still looking to buy a house. So this guy makes the point We're not even close to being done with this.
Right.
We're not even close to being done with this. He says there's no way the Federal Reserve, there's no way the Fed can combat another 46 million people looking to buy houses and perhaps cars by raising rates. That it's undoubtedly a supply and demand problem that will not be curbed anytime soon.
Well, yeah. I'm not sure that those two are directly correlated.
100% correlated. How are they not?
Because the Fed raising rates isn't just about housing.
The Fed is raising rates.
Because of inflation.
Because of everything. As the Fed raised rates,
they want to cool the market.
They'll cool the market. The buyer pool will thin. Inventory will stay on the market longer. The prices will cool. And the market will return to balance. We hope. This dude is saying there's 42 million people, 46 million people that are still trying to get in the game, and there's not enough housing stock.
Yeah, well, that's why housing prices haven't been going down with the rise in the Fed rate and mortgage rates, because demand isn't cooling.
I mean, follow that closely. I got this story from you.
But again, you're never gonna stop demand for houses. I mean, you may
demand for housing stopped in 07, 08, 09. You heard that from Yona early today. Overnight, it seemed like she said it was a screeching halt to housing then.
It may have been, yeah, I understand that, but now we're talking about people that need to get into houses. People that are looking at rent prices and saying this is unsustainable. I need to buy a house. So yes, it will cool, but it's not that people don't want a house anymore. They just realize I can't do it right now.
They can't afford it.
Yeah. So this is not going away. I don't know much about 07, 08. I don't know if it was the same issue where people just said, okay, I can't afford it right now. I'm gonna hold off. And just waited and then got back into the market, or if it was just a bunch of people that said, I don't need a house.
The next question I have is this. When does it start becoming a problem with Gen Zers? Gen Zers are, 95 to 2010s? So Gen Zers are approaching 30 years old now.
I'm putting the generation...
You got the table up?
Map up on the...
Gen Zers are approaching 30 years old.
Gen Z, 97 to 2012.
So 97, a geriatric Gen Zer is 25. A geriatric Gen Zer.
They're already buying houses.
That's what I'm saying.
Yeah.
When do we start seeing, we have this economist, the guy who does this for a living, okay? I read smart people and I talk about it on the show. I have a voracious, people talk about it on the show. How are you able to talk about so many different topics? I hear that question all the time. It's because I read constantly. Voracious appetite for reading. It's not me coming up with this on the fly. I'm reading constantly. I'm taking notes and I'm relaying it to you. Bill Smead is the chief investment officer of Smead Capital. The guy is saying there are 46 million millennials that are still trying to get in the housing market, that are still trying to buy a house. There are 46 million millennials that once they buy a house and they have a garage or a driveway or a space to park their car, are then going to want to buy a car.
So what I'd like to know is this an issue that because of increasing population?
I think this is an incredibly unfortunate nature, cyclical nature of mankind. And that's such a vague statement. I'm going to try to narrow this down.
Yeah.
He describes this well here with the baby boomers comment. Let me see if I can find the baby boomers comment. Oh, here it is. I'll read the paragraph verbatim from CNBC. Bill Smead explained that in the United States, there are an estimated 92 million millennials. The last time we saw what we call Wolverine inflation, which is inflation that is hard for policymakers to stop, was when 75 million baby boomers had to replace 44 million silent generation people in the 70s. We just have a freaking collision of very unfortunate circumstances. I'm going to try to outline them. In 2008, 2009, 2010, during the housing recession, the small and medium-sized builder went bankrupt or went away. In 2008, 2009, 2010, the tradespeople, electricians, drywall people, brick mason, the tradespeople went away because the housing economy crashed. We have not recovered from 2008, 2009, 2010
Right.
from an inventory creation standpoint. We don't have enough builders. We don't have enough tradespeople. On top of that, jurisdictional red tape has gotten thicker or more arduous to navigate. 24% the cost of a new home in Albemarle County, 24% of that new home cost is tied to paperwork and not front doors or granite or roofs or appliances. So we have not enough tradespeople because of the housing recession of 2008, 2009, 2010. We have not enough builders, not enough tradespeople, not enough inventory, more red tape than ever. We have arguably the largest buyer pool ever coming into the market. We have the next generation that's itching to get in the market as well. And all this crap is colliding at exactly the same time. And the unfortunate aspect is, I mean, that's a new term for me, Wolverine inflation. You heard that before?
I'd never heard of it before.
Inflation where a policymaker cannot stop inflation based on policy-making decisions.
Yeah.
This dude is saying that it's going to continue and get worse.
Yeah, well, and it's
And I'll read two paragraphs.
It's not just because of the millennials.
No, not just because I mean, part of the blame is the baby boomers too. The baby boomers are downsizing to smaller homes. And as the baby boomers downsize from 3,000, 4,000, 5,000 square foot homes because they're empty nesters now and are now going to 1,500, 2,000 square foot home, the 3-bedroom, 2-bath, they're chasing the same home the millennial is chasing.
Yeah, and nobody wants the big home anymore.
And
I'm not saying nobody, but I'm saying of those, if one side is downsizing and the other side is just trying to get in, neither of them is looking for gigantic
of those two groups.
Yeah.
Of those two groups. Here, I'm going to read you two paragraphs verbatim from the Virginia Mercury. I encourage anyone watching this program to read Virginia Mercury. It's a nonprofit, nonpartisan, no paywalls news outlet. They're bringing coverage of the Commonwealth of Virginia's biggest issues from a team of veteran journalists, many of whom work for legacy media like the Richmond Times-Dispatch. Okay? I'm going to read two paragraphs from the Virginia Mercury. This story came out a couple of days ago, and it quoted Hamilton Lombard. Hamilton Lombard is a demographer with the Weldon Cooper Center of the University of Virginia. Hamilton Lombard is a University of Virginia graduate. He's a fantastic father, great husband, and a hell of a squash player, and an all-around nice guy. I enjoy seeing Hamilton Lombard the few times I see him. Here are the two paragraphs from Virginia Mercury. I'll read it verbatim to you, Judah. The data presented Wednesday to lawmakers on the Virginia Housing Commission reflect trends that are likely to have a major impact on some of the state's biggest metro areas, according to Virginia Realtors Association and other housing experts. While statewide home sales have slowed amid rising interest rates, limited inventory means that prices have not dropped to match the decline in demand.
Yeah.
High prices and high price increases are worse in Northern Virginia, where home costs rose between 2000 and 2019, higher than any other metro area on the East Coast, according to Hamilton Lombard, a demographer with the Weldon Cooper Center at the University of Virginia. In 2019, for example, both Arlington and Fairfax had higher median home prices than any individual East Coast county other than Martha's Vineyard and Nantucket, according to the U.S. Census Bureau 5-year American Community Survey. Dude, Nova, Arlington, and Fairfax, higher median income home price in 2019 than any East Coast county except for Martha's Vineyard in Nantucket. Good God.
Yeah.
And that's 2019. That doesn't even include the craziness that COVID did to housing in 2020, 2021, and 2022. It's much worse now.
Yeah.
That data just hasn't been released yet.
Add to that the problem of AMI rising.
Area median income.
Yeah.
City of Charlottesville, the Charlottesville metro area median income for a family is around 112K.
Yeah, and as it rises, it gets another article that I sent you is about Blue Ridge Legal Services helping 400 households obtain $1.5 million in rental assistance. The problem is rental assistance, as the AMI gets higher, is more people are going to fall under that and be eligible.
So it's more competitive.
Exactly. So it's going to become harder for people. And
do you hear what he's saying? Add this to this.
And hold on, one more point. Somebody, where is it? Mentioned the fact that with AMI rising, it's not just rich people moving in. It's also poor people moving out.
Right.
Getting out of the area because they can't afford it anymore.
Definition of gentrification.
And so the AMI rises.
Exactly. Take it a step further. For Charlottesville City, let's take City of Charlottesville. They offer tax relief.
Yeah.
The tax relief is based on your financial position. Well, guess what the hell happened over the last 2 years? A lot of folks living on the financial margin in the city of Charlottesville that happen to own a home, their frequent equity went through the roof.
Yeah.
They got more assets and equity than ever before. Their on-paper wealth is better than it's ever been. But you know what the scary scenario is? Their salary may have not have escalated, or they could be retired. So when they go to the tax relief program and say, I'm retired, or my income is not appreciating at the same clip of inflation, they're going to do a little financial audit and say, well, dude,
you're rich.
You're rich. You're sitting on $85,000 of equity, many of that which was accumulated over the last 2 years of the pandemic. You don't qualify for tax relief anymore.
Yeah. And then what do? You sell your house and move out.
Gentrification. It's brutal.
Yeah.
So what I'm going to try to do is I'm going to try to put it in perspective. I'm going to try to put a house in perspective. Bill McKenzie sent this to me. I'm going to put it in perspective on what you get for your money in this area. This is a house in Belvedere. Belvedere is a great neighborhood. This home is 11 years old. Can I send you the link? If I direct message you the link, can you get it up on screen?
The link, or?
I'll send you a Zillow link. Tell me if you got that. Facebook message. The home is a beautiful home.
What do you want me to put on?
See if you can get some of the photos that I just Facebook messaged you on screen. If not, I know I'm doing this on the fly and I apologize.
I can get them.
It's a beautiful home. Bill McKenzie, thank you for sending this to me. 827 Cole Street in Belvedere. It's $535,000 asking price. It went on the market, did it go on the market today? Went on the market yesterday. Dennis Volts of Logan Foster has the listing. You have a beautiful home. It's been on the market 1 day. You got 3 bedrooms, 3 baths for an 11-year home, 11 years old. Less than 2,400 square feet. A $535,000 asking price. You have a home that millennials and boomers are competing for. 3 bedroom, 3 bathroom. This is often considered a starter home. A 3 bedroom and 3 bathroom home is often considered a starter home. The price tag is $535,000 asking. The home sold 11 years ago for $343K. You're looking at, in 11 years, over 218% of appreciation. So here you got boomers and millennials chopping at the bit to buy a house like this. The lot is not large. The house is not big. If you have 2 kids, it's a 3-bedroom. You immediately have no guest room. $535 asking for an 11-year house, 11-year-old home that's not even 2,400 square feet. It's gorgeous, man. It is so pretty. You got these photos on screen?
Not yet.
I mean, it's beautiful. It is a beautiful home. But the starter home market is now $535? I mean, you got a take on that?
I mean,
forget the photos. I'm more concerned, more into that intellect between that brain of yours.
I mean, it's everything. It's like you said, the shortages. It's the people going out of business because the housing market died. It's all these people jumping in the market. It's part of it is, I think part of the problem of reduced availability of homes is all these people buying places to turn into rentals and Airbnbs.
Yeah.
How much of how many of the houses that got that people defaulted on loans on back in 07, 08, 09, how many of those homes were just bought up by companies that wanted to turn them into rentals?
Well, I mean, we had Michael Buchensky, a mortgage broker, talk a couple of weeks ago how he was helping finance the purchase of an entire neighborhood. A hedge fund in Waynesboro was purchasing it for $22 million.
Yeah.
So that's now happening. I have shared that Zillow link in the comment section of a lot of the social media platforms this show is airing upon. Look at that Zillow link. $535. I don't want the moniker starter home to send negative connotations. I don't want the moniker to send negative connotations. It's a beautiful home. But a 3-bedroom home is not a home that a family that is growing or looking to add kids to their nucleus is going to call a forever house. Are you in agreement with me that?
Yeah.
You're safe to say, right?
Yeah. I mean, a growing family needs room to grow.
Exactly. A starter home in the urban ring, 11 years old. 11 years old is right when these appliances need to start being replaced. HVAC, washer dryer. 11 years old is I'm not saying it's old, but it's not brand new. So you're talking a $535 ask. You're talking a $218,000 delta in price if it sells for this. Got Jim Hingley watching the program. I love when you watch the show, Jim Hingley. He likes this house. He likes it. He likes the, oh, did you send me another house? Is this what this is, Jim? Oh, it's one in Woolen Mills. I would love if you could text me this, Mr. Hingley, Jim. And we've got to get you back on the show. If you can text me this, I would happily read this Woolen Mills listing, because I know you are passionate about Woolen Mills. I love Woolen Mills as well, and I would love to get the word out about this listing as well, Jim. It just is running together a little bit in the Twitter message. And we're going to get Jim Hingley on the program soon to talk about some of the positive updates that are happening. Is it both? I know the county's got a county attorney. We got a county attorney. Lisa's the city attorney. So she's been in there for a while. We got a county attorney in play. And I'm excited for Mr. Hingley to talk about that with us soon on today's program. Oh, man. All right, I got food news for Scott Aaronworth in Virginia Beach. Before we get to Scott Aaronworth in Virginia Beach, Youngkin double dipping on today's program. Youngkin is getting lambasted for CNBC dropping in the best state to do business in. By the Dems. The Dems are lambasting Youngkin because Virginia went from number 1 to number 3 for the best state to do business. I mean, number 3 in my book, still good.
Still great.
Still great. But certainly a drop that needs to be talked about. I mean, if you drop from 1 to 3, you should talk about it. Did you read the article?
It wasn't much of an article, was it?
The survey ranks states according to 10 categories: workforce, infrastructure, economy. Each category is weighted based on how frequently states use them as a selling point in economic development. Virginia is in the top 5, 3 overall in the country. North Carolina and Washington State are 1 and 2. Last year it was 1, the Commonwealth. Why do you think it would drop? I mean, housing has got to be one of them, right? You need places to live.
Yeah.
I need to emphasize this to anybody watching today's program. I try to emphasize this. And I try to emphasize this without revealing details that I know that are confidential. Because we respect confidentiality on this program. And people that relay us information to us for the show understand that we do that. When this data science school opens on Ivy Road in the urban ring, $125 million data science school, a world-class school. World-class. Data science is everything right now. I don't care what field of business that you're in. If you can't interpret data, especially in today's digital, mobile, social media age, your business and your brand is at a significant disadvantage. One of the reasons VMV Brands, our advertising agency, has gotten so much market share in 15 years is because we are excellent with metrics and numbers and data. We can take convoluted numbers and explain them to our clients in approachable and straightforward fashion. Very shortly, there's going to be a world-class school opening a mile and a half away from where this show is broadcasted in downtown Charlottesville. And this school is going to be, I'm telling you, a farm system for major employers. A world-class school churning and producing world-class talent. It will be the farm system for world-class companies. And as this school produces world-class talent, world-class companies will set up auxiliary headquarters or shops in the area. And we're going to get flooded by very expensive talent setting up shop here. Mark it down.
So I'm looking at the breakdown of some of this, and it looks like where Virginia has issues is cost of doing business is a big one. Economy and technology and innovation are others. But what I find really interesting is, how you've mentioned that that Democrats are lambasting Youngkin, and right down at the bottom of this page, I'm looking at putting partisanship aside. North Carolina ranks number 1 in America's top states for business. Putting partisanship aside.
What does that mean?
That means here we have Democrats lambasting Republicans, and I'm sure if the situation was
it's vice versa.
reversed-
The Republicans would do it too if it was McAuliffe in office.
Yeah, and I think it just...
It's not unique to the Dems.
I think it underscores the problem of our government not working together for our benefit.
100%. It underscores the problem of needing a third party.
Or just abolish the two we have.
It underscores the party of we don't all fit into a two-party mold. Jim Hinchley, thank you for this text. He says there's a fantastic house on 513 East Market Street, 3-bedroom, 2-bath, 1/2 bath, less than 1,600 square feet.
513 East Market?
It's not on the market yet, so that's right down the road in
I was going
Woollen
to say,
Mills
that's
here.
like...
We're in the 4406. So
Yeah.
that is what, a couple of miles. This is right down the road from us here.
513?
1513 East Market Street.
Oh,
1513,
1513,
excuse me.
I was going to say, that's
1513
like,
East
that's like a
Market
block
Street.
over. I don't
Dude,
remember
Jim
any houses
Hinchley's
over
got-
there.
Jim Hinchley's got the details. He says this is not on the market yet.
Oh, how much is it?
So we're looking at a pocket listing here. 525 ask. Are you ready for these specs? The home was built in the 1930s. Less than 1,600 square feet. 3 bedrooms, 2 baths, 1/2 bath. 1930s. 1930 to be exact. The price per square foot is $335 a square foot. A thoughtfully renovated 3-bedroom, 2.5 bathroom Craftsman with a partially finished basement and a 1-car detached garage, conveniently located in desirable Woollen Mills. Not on the market yet. So you know what Jim's doing? Thank you, Jim. He's showing me that 535 in Bel Air, that 535 in Belvedere that I was talking about earlier, 3-bedroom, 3-bath, 2,376 square feet.
Oh, man.
Is market rate. Because you got a home that's coming on the market that's a 1930 versus a 2011, that's a 525 ask. Your starter home price point in the urban ring, are you finding it? Are you Google mapping it?
Yeah.
I bet you it's by Selvage Brewing Company.
It's not that far down.
Jim Hinchley is the mayor of Woollen Mills.
This is, let's see.
Not only the Commonwealth's attorney, but the mayor of Woollen Mills and an all-around A-plus guy. Jim Hinchley, you know I love you, homie. You showing the map on screen?
No, I took a picture of, I took a screenshot. Let me...
J-Dubs, the starter home market is 500 plus.
Yeah.
You got
it's
two
insane.
examples.
It is absolutely nuts.
Insane.
Okay.
It's absolutely nuts.
All right, the house is on the screen. It's tiny.
You're putting it on screen?
At least it looks that way from...
It's not even on the market yet. Tell us when it's on screen.
It's on screen.
Oh, it's on screen. You took a screenshot?
Yeah. Let's see.
Story House is going to get the real estate listing, he says. Good Lord, I'm seeing it now. There's a 10-second delay. It's don't get me wrong, it's charming and adorable. This is a charming and adorable house. $525,000 asking. Look at the screen. Keep it on screen. Keep it on screen.
Yeah.
If it's off screen, put it back on screen.
No, I'm trying to take a picture of the side.
You just can do, why? The side's going to put more perspective than the front?
Well, I mean, it could go back, it could go back 500 feet and be gigantic.
Explain this to me. How does a millennial or a Gen Zer, explain this to me. How does my brother-in-law, who's got a wonderful, wonderful, wonderful girlfriend, love her, obviously heading the way of family and marriage and kids and home ownership, how do they, she's a nurse, he's got a good job, white collar job, I would say combined they make 210, somewhere like that. They live in Connecticut where the cost of living is astronomical. Explain to me how someone like that is going to be able to buy a house. Good Lord, did you put the side of the house up?
It's not much of a side, but it gives you a little bit of a...
That's
an
Woollen
idea.
Mills. A lot of people would see this and say, that price tag, they're going to be like, is that Farmington? Is that Ivy Road? Is that right off the downtown mall? Is that the C&O row houses? No.
Does it come with a free ACAC membership?
You got an ACAC membership. You did not use yours.
What?
Did you use yours?
I never had one.
You had one.
No, it was like a beneficial one. It was like a guest one.
Did you use it?
Not much.
You know, you're not.
I went in there a few times.
You're not focused on your pecs and your biceps and getting your glutes and your abs strong.
My glutes are
Will you stand up and flex for the viewers and listeners?
no.
Okay. All right. I figured there was a no. I won't
This
push
is not
anymore.
that kind of show.
Okay. You will not do that?
No.
Jim Hingley, thank you for that tidbit. You made the show better today, my friend. Love that guy. I love Jim. I love talking about real life with that man. Man loves to read like we do. All right, this is for the foodies that are watching the show. Johnny Ornalis sent me this message. I got a lot of messages this week that I had food poisoning. And I love you guys. I love that you guys send us information for the show. I really do. And I would bet you 98% of the time we incorporate it into the show. It's like crowdsourcing content. Johnny Ornalis sent us 3 pictures from his friend Eddie Moreno. Eddie Moreno sent them to Johnny. Johnny sent them to me. There's a Peruvian restaurant coming to 5th Street Station. It's called Inca Grill. And it's coming to the Yard area of 5th Street Station. The Yard area is where like Extreme Pizza and Chim are located. A Peruvian restaurant called Inca Grill is coming to the Yard.
Looks like they're originally from Roanoke.
So it's a franchise?
I don't know about a franchise.
Look at you. I like that. I like when you make the program better. I mean, put it Inca Grill into Google. See what comes up on Inca Grill Peruvian Cuisine. I'm on their link right now. I'm going to... Oh, it's definitely from Roanoke. Roanoke Peruvian restaurant. Their primary location is at 611 S. Jefferson Street. This is a second location from them. So this is location number 2. So we're going to watch as this brand, Inca Grill Peruvian Cuisine, a restaurant founded by John Eric. Oh, we got some spelling errors on your About page here. If you did your website through VMP Brands, I personally would have vetted your copy to make sure that there was no grammatical errors on your website. I'm seeing a few over here. I'm not throwing shade. I'm just saying that's something that as a former newspaper editor, grammatical errors come immediately. I see them like red flags.
Yeah, chef is also an artist, and our chef proves it.
Yeah. You see the grammatical errors as well?
Well, that's just
How about the space?
It's just
There's
a funny,
no space after the comma.
It's just an odd sentence. Chef is also an artist, and our chef proves it.
Yeah, I have a feeling it was written by someone perhaps where English, it was ESL, English is a second language, who wrote this. I don't know, just an assumption. Long story short, their second location is going to be in Charlottesville. Their first location's in Roanoke. Do we have Peruvian restaurants in Charlottesville?
Not that I'm aware
Isn't
of.
there one? Can somebody help me? Isn't there a Peruvian restaurant in the Food Line Shopping Center on Pantops? What is the name of the restaurant?
No, that's Salvadoran.
Oh, it's Salvadorian? That's the one.
I'm
That place
pretty
is
sure,
legit. You know the one I'm talking about?
Yeah, I've eaten there.
Dude, is it Casita or La Casita?
I think it's Mi Casita.
Oh, Mi Casita. Dude, here's a pro tip. Anybody that watches this program knows I eat out a lot. It's Mi Casita. It's Salvadorian. You're right. I just looked it up. Here's a pro tip. Scott Aaronworth, I bet you have not tried this restaurant. Pantop Shopping Center. It's the shopping center where the Lazy Parrot is located and the Food Lion Shopping Center is located. There's a hole-in-the-wall Salvadorian restaurant called Mi Casita.
Yeah, it used to be Chinese or Asian food.
It is damn good.
It is good.
You've eaten there more than once or once?
I think just once.
It's damn good.
Yeah.
It is, and I hate to even say this, it is priced very reasonably. Very, very reasonably.
Yeah.
Mi Casita, base of Pantops. Try it. Is dynamite. and it's literally a family that's running the restaurant with their kids in the restaurant doing school or helping out.
Oh yeah, our server was. I mean, I'd be surprised if she was
Like
older
14?
older than 14 or 15.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. We may have had the same server.
Yeah, she was really very nice though.
So friendly.
Did a great job.
Firecracker, super smart.
Oh yeah.
Was carrying the conversation often in the place of her parents. I remember picking up takeout for my family and sitting there for a beer while my food was being made, and we may have interacted with the same family member. I was left by how like easygoing and likable she was for such a young age.
Yeah.
Try it. Is there a Peruvian restaurant in Charlottesville?
I would say probably not.
Can you name one? Is there a Peruvian restaurant in Charlottesville? Anyone? Albemarle County? Someone help me? Al Carbone has Peruvian dishes, do they not? Peruvian chicken from Al Carbone, right?
They do come up on Google. That doesn't necessarily mean anything though.
Is there any other Peruvian restaurant or Peruvian-based food in Charlottesville? Did this Peruvian restaurant just fill a niche that we did not know needed filling? And would you use Fifth Street Station and the Yard as your entree to the Charlottesville competitive food scene? I was talking about this with my wife yesterday. Actually, I was talking about this before I got into this food poisoning coma. I've lost nearly 12 pounds from food poisoning. I take that back. I would wish food poisoning on my enemy. You know the saying, I don't wish whatever on my enemy?
I wouldn't wish this on my worst enemy.
I would wish it on my worst enemy.
You want them to lose weight and
Puke for 3 days, not get out of bed and think they're dying, lose 12 pounds in 72 hours, not be able to hold anything down. I mean, literally, it was miserable. It was utterly miserable. Yes, it was, Scott. It was that. I would wish food poisoning on Osama bin Laden. You wouldn't wish food poisoning on Osama bin Laden? Yes, you would. Of course you would. You would wish food poisoning on Saddam Hussein.
I mean, it's more funny just imagining.
You would wish food poisoning on Putin.
Yeah, that's fair. I would.
Wouldn't you want Putin to get food poisoning?
Yeah.
Or worse?
A never-ending case of it.
Yeah. Someone send some bad sushi to Putin, please. I have a hard time saying his last name.
Putin.
That guy. Is the best place to launch in an incredibly competitive market, which is Charlottesville, Fifth Street Station, and the Yard. The Yard has had a proof of performance, a track record that has not been great.
That's the Yard's fault, though. I mean,
It's undoubtedly the Yard's fault.
It's
poorly advertised.
They had a pizza place and nothing else.
It's poorly advertised. It's poorly branded. How long was Basil coming for the Yard?
Yeah, Basil. How long was that coming?
Basil Mediterranean restaurant? Years. Never came.
Is it even there?
I don't think it ever opened.
Then there's
Extreme Pizza, which we know the family. They were a client.
Yeah.
There's
Chim, which is good.
I think some of the best wings in town are Chim's. I've said that many times.
I love Chim, but I tried to take my parents there, and it was closed. Takeout only.
J-Pun is taking COVID and this pandemic as serious as anyone. And he and I, from time to time, have disagreed on a number of topics, visibly on social media, many times. I want to say this, if this gets to J-Pun, your food is banging. I've said many times your wings are some of the best in town. I respect your commitment to safety, J-Pun, when it comes to your restaurant, Chim, and the fact that it is essentially a takeout spot now. You can eat outside. You can do takeout and eat outside. Yeah. I've also had some luck with some of the servers serving me outside, but it is difficult to eat inside. Have you gone to Chim recently?
I mean, this was probably within the last 3 months. I mean, I took my parents there.
So it was this year.
Yeah, it was this year, and sadly, my parents would have loved the place. Probably would have become, regulars there.
Oh, your parents love that kind of food. Open mind.
And now they're
Love spice.
And now they'll never try it.
Why? Because it was only takeout?
Yeah, we went there after church. We're not trying to get takeout and go find somewhere to sit down. We want to sit down and eat. So we left and we went and got something else.
I will say this. It's a takeout-only restaurant.
Yeah, that's a shame.
That's an extremely expensive monthly nut for a takeout-only restaurant.
No doubt.
He's paying the rent, and Jay Pun is a tremendous restaurateur. This cannot come out in any way negative because it's completely positive. No one on his friend group or him personally can possibly interpret this as negative. He's got the Thai noodle behind Stonefield that is absolutely banging. He's got Chim and Fifth Street that is banging. He's got Chim Street and Dairy Market that is banging. He's a music teacher at the Renaissance School. He's a front man for a band. He's an incredibly talented musician. Jay Pun does not age. The man looks like he's 25 years old. Handsome restaurateur. Incredible contribution to this community. Jay Pun. Mm-hmm. And I have no beef that he's running his very expensive restaurant that's next to a movie theater, high monthly rent, in takeout fashion. No beef at all. It's working for him. It's surviving. Props to him.
Yeah.
The question I have for you, if you were bringing a Peruvian restaurant with all the vacancies that are available, why or would you, not why, would you open in the Yard? Would you open your new to market brand in a competitive landscape like Charlottesville's dining scene in a place like the Yard?
I mean, I probably wouldn't at this point. I mean, I'd want to take a look at prices of places, but I would want to be closer to Midtown.
I mean, here's the question. You got a number of restaurants for sale on the downtown mall. You got vacancies in Midtown. You got vacancies in Barracks, in Stonefield, 29, Pantops. You have your pick of the litter. You have your pick of the litter right now.
Yeah.
I find it head-scratching and somewhat perplexing when there's so many restaurant vacancies for rent or for sale that you're going to make a long-term hundreds and hundreds of thousands of dollars, personal guarantees, triple net leases, 5-year commitments, 10-year commitments, options to renew, and you're going to bring your brand to the Yard. I find it head-scratching. Jim Hingley text messages, South and Central is a great Latin grill. It's not Peruvian, but he champions and he endorses South and Central in Dairy Market. That place is amazing, Jim Hingley. You have very good taste, sir. Very good taste. We will keep our eye out on this restaurant coming to Fifth Street Station, and we will certainly try it. I got 2 other tidbits to get out of the notebook. This tidbit was sent to me from Travis Hackworth. Travis, are you watching the show, my friend? Please let me know if you're watching the show. He sent me this link, Travis Hackworth. He is the mayor of Danville. He routinely watches the show. The University of Virginia's medical school has been unlisted in last year's ranking of the best graduate schools, according to U.S. News and World Report, because the university submitted inflated statistical information. UVA was one of more than 50 colleges removed from one of the publication's influential rankings, U.S. News said this past week. A spokesman for UVA said employees for the medical school accidentally reported an absolute number instead of a percentage. When they realized a mistake had been made, they provided correct information in December. Originally, UVA reported the 3-year average for medical school graduates entering primary care specialties was 59% from 2018 to 2020. The school has since informed U.S. News that the correct percentage is 38%. Wow, that's a mistake of 21%.
Oops.
In March, U.S. News released its 2023 ranking of the top graduate schools, and UVA's correct information was included. The university placed 35th for best medical schools for primary care and 30th for best medical schools for research. However, last week, U.S. News announced Columbia University had lost its number 2 ranking for best colleges after questions arose regarding its data accuracy. Then, Eastern Virginia Medical School was removed. Then, UVA got in the mix. Look, people ask all the time, these rankings, how important are they? They're incredibly important. Because what's happening now is college education is becoming commoditized. People are realizing that students coming out with hundreds of thousands of dollars of debt is not sustainable. So people are saying, should I pursue college education? Should I go to the trade schools? Do I become an electrician? Do I start my own company? Do I bypass the 4-year route? So the schools with the best pedigree are the ones that are going to maintain the best reputations and the largest levels of enrollment. The schools with the weak pedigree, the schools with the poor graduation numbers are going to be commoditized, and eventually the ones that are going to lose the educational war. So these rankings, incredibly important. And UVA getting removed from them, that's news. Travis, thank you for sending it my way. I'm grateful for Danville, Virginia, for being a part of today's show. All right, we went long. I didn't even think we were going to do a show today because I'm still feeling not my full self. Thank you, Scott, for saying I hope you feel better. But I started catching some adrenaline. I enjoyed connecting with you guys. So we ended up going 15 minutes long. I just looked at the clock for the first time and I have a 1:45, so I'm going to sprint on out of here. Thank you, Judah Wickhauer. My name is Jerry Miller. It's the I Love CVille show on a Friday, brought to you by Skooma Boutique Dispensary. You guys have a good afternoon and take care.